Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back on the show. We're gonna try to get some updates of today. Um, See what the big news are. I've got some news lined up for you guys as well. First, this is the skyline, North Israel, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Kuwait, Beirut, South Israel. We're gonna take you forward. Let me refresh this. I'll give it some sound. So this is the skyline of Beirut. We could see some smoke over here, and it looks better than yesterday, I think. Let's move forward. This is Israel, Iran, Israel, and Beirut. It would be around midday in Iran and early morning in Israel and Beirut. Let's move forward. Now I'm going to give you some a news roundup of what happened last in the last 24 hours. First of all, we're going to give you an update on the attacks on U.S. Embassy. After that, the ship that has been downed, Iranian ship that has been downed by U.S. The ship was apparently coming back from a naval exercise from India. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about Australia joining in, placing some military assets. And then we're going to talk about the attack on Turkey that the Iranian government has denied. We're going to look into that as well. And then also, right in the beginning, we're going to give you the death toll till now on both sides. And then we've got some news and videos on cluster bombs and missiles. We're going to look into that as well. And I know there's war going on, but there's some funny news as well. Uh, Israeli and U.S. forces targeting decoys, wasting millions of dollars on decoys, on models of planes and drones. We're going to look into that as well, and also at the end, there a Russian prankster duo has just pranked Raza Shah Pahlavi. We're going to look into that as well. First, let's go towards what the international news is talking about. I'm going to refresh this. This is Al Jazeera.
In particular is saying that it is continuing its waves of strikes to target the Israeli territories as well as the U.S. military bases in the region. And one other important development.
So it says Iran's health minister says that US Israel attacks have killed more than 1,000 people since Saturday. This is live. Red Crescent says it's 1,330. And as you guys must have known that the last processions of Khamenei was cancelled due to management restrictions. So they are working on that as well. A big number, a large crowd of people is expected uh, in Tehran. So let's see how that goes. So we're going to move forward. That was Al Jazeera. This is France 24 English. Let's see what they're talking about.
I would say, ally with a shared war interest. Israel has some influence on however this war proceeds. But the minute that the UAE, Saudi Arabia, possibly Azerbaijan, a major crude oil producing nation, um, the minute these other countries where Donald Trump has very deep and very important interests become as important as Israel is in a general regional conflict, Israel's voice will be reduced in importance. And I'm not yet getting the sense that the Israeli government is beginning to respond to this on the diplomatic level, certainly not in terms of its public diplomacy to Israelis, which has been very triumphalistic and as an included, I would say gently, some significant exaggerations about Israel's ability to depose the Iranian regime.
Noga, thanks very much. Noga Tonopolsky, our correspondent, joining us there live from Jerusalem. Now, meanwhile, Iran's foreign minister says America will come to bitterly regret the precedent it set after a US submarine sank an Iranian frigate yesterday off the coast of Sri Lanka. The comment by Abbas Araghchi, the first time that the Iranian government has acknowledged the sinking of the Dena in the Indian Ocean. He added that the US has perpetrated an atrocity at sea 2,000 miles away from Iran's shores. That frigate went down with almost 130 sailors on board. The latest toll is we have that 32 have been rescued. 87 bodies have been found so far, though.
This was the news that we were talking about.
Two families said to have been killed in the latest fighting in Lebanon as Israeli forces push into border.
So that was France 24 English. Let's move on. Let's see what CGTN is saying. You're tuned in right now, and we're watching world news, going through channels, different channels, watching international broadcasts. So this is CGTN live.
The development of new quality productive forces, and we're going to focus on the key task of building a modernized industrial system and cultivate the transformation of traditional industries so that they can generate new vitality, and this will help us boost emerging industries.
So it says China aims to accelerate high-level science, tech, self-reliance during 15th five-year plan period. So they got their own little thing going on. So let's move on to Euro News English.
Revenues, and that means that we need to also tackle on the logistic lines, and that means that we need to tackle the shadow fleet. So yes, we will continue on that pathway.
And do you think that now this conflict in the Middle East, that it threatens taking the attention away from what is happening in Russia and Ukraine, which was obviously, until about 2-3 weeks ago, the main topic on the EU agenda?
Yep. EU has their own headache, and they're talking about that. Let's move forward. Let's see what TRT is saying.
Of government shelters, the government has got them opened quicker than before. They do seem to be outfitting these shelters quicker than before, but also they had much more time to prepare. As you mentioned, Isabel, the Israelis never ceased their attacks. And so one could wonder why the government, did not already have these shelters sort of ready to go with mattresses and sort of more of a plan in place than we are seeing. Obviously, we are only 80 hours in, so we will have to wait and see the full government response. But I can tell you, as of now, there is a lot of anger. Some people are directing it at Hezbollah for engaging with the Israelis to begin with. Other people are directing it at the Lebanese government. I was speaking to one person in a
So that was TRT. We're going to move forward. So this is Sky News Live.
With one of the airlines, and it's now been rebooked for the 13th of March. That's over a week away. And she was really upset, crying with my colleague Fiona when she spoke to her on the phone last night. And I think for tourists, they feel quite freaked out by this situation. I mean, you don't come to the UAE on holiday and expect to hear air defense bangs, which have been really loud in the sky, and they're every day. We've had some this morning, and fast jets flying through the sky, and then to see a hotel hit by a drone. You know, these are extraordinary things. And also, you know, hotels have also been moving their guests down to basement car parks, you know, during some of these attacks in the earlier days of this war. So I would say tourists are much more concerned. And then, you know, there's also the disruption of that evacuation flight that was supposed to go last night, the first, by the way, and there was already a lot of criticism that it was only one aircraft that had been sent, and it didn't go. And then there's residents as well who live here. You know, around 250,000 British citizens have chosen the UAE as their home. And I would say there's more of a sense of calm among them. But that said, in recent days, since the travel advice has changed from the British Embassy, which 2 days ago advised British citizens in the country that if they don't need to be here, then they may want to think about leaving, and that commercial flights are opening up, I'd say that has impacted how citizens are feeling. I'm hearing of a lot more people on residents' WhatsApp groups trying to get out, and even just this morning, some have headed for the Omani border and the Saudi border, trying to get flights out.
Guys, we'll leave you there. Thank you so much, Diana, Sally, Ali, across the region there for us.
Well, Sally was just talking about the travel.
Okay, so that was Sky News. Let's move forward. This is DW.
That conflict, and so there was so much.
There's been this big thing about the destruction of the special relationship now between the UK and the US as a result of Starmer voicing his real disapproval.
We've also seen the pressure on Spain very clearly. Trump, you know, during the press conference with Metz, who's actually been probably the most prominent European leader to sort of back this this action. He was, you know, but then Trump used that opportunity to bash the Spaniards, the Spanish leadership for their stand on this. I think there's two levels here. There's first of all the concern from the erosion of international order, international law, you know, common practice of engagement that the world has so, you know, has tried so hard to establish and had managed to sustain for many decades after the horrible trauma of World War II, and the fear of the crumbling of these institutions and these standards. That's a real fear. But at the same time, Trump very wisely, very strategically, framing this whole attack, this whole war, this whole conflict as for the cause of the Iranian people, you know, trying to free them from 50 years of brutal tyranny under the Islamic Republic regime. That's for itself make it very hard for you to outright, bluntly be against this, because there is no doubt that the Iranian regime has been very oppressive, very cruel, and Khamenei.
So that was DW. Let's move on. This is CGTN Europe. Let's see what they're saying.
They have to keep up.
And this year is a big year for China because it marks the beginning of the 15th five-year plan. I'm not sure how many people in North America
I think we went through that earlier. Let's move forward. This is ABC Live.
We're back with a car flipping over and sliding.
Okay. Some local news. This is ABC News Australia.
There needs to be a de-escalation of hostilities. Right now we have a spreading of hostilities.
Both countries know they risk becoming mere bystanders as great powers become more willing to wield economic power and deploy military force. Mr. Carney using his speech to Parliament to revive his call for middle powers like Canada and Australia to form new coalitions.
The question today for middle powers like us is whether we...
So that's about it. That's the global news landscape right now. We're going to take you back to the skyline of different cities in the Middle East, and we're going to take a short break. This is a huge shout out to the OSINT guys, Intel Cam, doing a great job. Now we're going to move forward into news. Let's see what sort of news is there. So first of all, we're moving on to the news now. This is the US Embassy attack in Dubai. This is how it looks like. For the people who don't know what he's saying, let's get out of here.
Oh, leave from there, leave from there. Leave from there.
This is another. It's actually the same video.
Legal. Another drone.
This is big. This for Dubai, this is very big. The US embassy being attacked by Iranian drones. Wow. We're going to move on. The same story, a different angle. So you see that too. We're going to play that again. He confirms that it's on the consulate. He just confirmed that it was on the consulate. These pictures would be like something that the people living in Dubai could never imagine of. We're moving on now. So this was the ship that we were talking about. The Iranian ship that the US is claimed to take out was actually coming back from a marine navy exercise, and India had invited them. And this account says this is extremely embarrassing for India. They invited the Iranian ship Iris Dena for joint exercises and port visits, but the US sank it off the coast of India and Sri Lanka. The US slapped India in the face, telling the world their invitation cannot guarantee safe passage. This was a foul. I mean, this shouldn't have been done. If the ship was some sort of, in a way, attacking the US ship, then it would be somehow justified. But this, I mean, going for a naval exercise or coming back from a naval exercise, doing this, sad. We're going to see what this guy is saying.
But it is within our search and today early morning, MRCC received a distress signal, though it was beyond our waters, but it is within our search and rescue region. So as we are a maritime nation, we are obliged to respond. We are the first responders as per the international obligation. So Navy swiftly coordinated with the Maritime Rescue Coordinating Center, and also we disseminate this information to the Sri Lanka Air Force and Coast Guard as well. And we launch and dispatch our craft with all the necessary rescue team and the necessary devices to render humanitarian assistance, and we reached up to that location and continue doing this search operation. So while doing search operation, we found people floating on the floating in the water and rescued them, and later on subsequently when we inquired them, we found that those people are belonging to the Iranian ship, and we understood that they need prompt medical attention, and we swiftly transferred them to the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital, and right now they are undergoing medical treatment. So we still continuing the search and rescue operation in that particular area with the calculation of weather condition and the sea, maritime all the maritime related calculation, and we are continuing the rescue operation, search and rescue operation in that particular area. And also we have found some dead bodies in that particular area, and we suspect these bodies are belongs to the same ship because we found these things in the particular search and rescue area, I mean the demarcated area. So being maritime nation, and as per the conventions in the search and rescue and the UNCLOS, we are obliged to respond any of distress out at sea, whether it is a ship, fishing vessel or fishing craft or the aircraft. We are the first responders. So Navy along with the Coast Guard and the Air Force, we responded positively and swiftly, and we could able to rescue 32 survivors, and still we are doing the search and rescue operation in the particular area. That is the update.
Okay, so that was the update from the media guy of the Indian Navy. He was saying that they were the first responders and got them off, or told the count of the bodies that he found, some survivors, and thanks for joining us, Black Widow. So this is Karja. War just expanded to the Indian Ocean. That is true. I mean, these guys, that was something that I was thinking of. These guys, the Americans, are over here, and they shot the Irani ship over here, and it was, by the way, a torpedo. So, okay, that's not even fair. And what does that mean for the Indian and Sri Lankan maritime guys? Wasn't that invasion? Wasn't that trespassing? So Giant Bandari says, India is the most relevant major country in the world. No one seeks its advice. No one cares about it. No one respects it. It is such a nullity that hardly anyone accounts for it. This is what happens when you have no values, no compass. He's talking about this ship that has been downed by the Americans. So it says Sri Lanka has deployed naval ships and aircrafts to assist Iranian frigate Iris after it reported distress off the coast of Gal. Foreign Minister confirmed that 30 of the approximately 180 sailors on board have been rescued so far. Rescue operations are ongoing just outside Sri Lanka's territorial waters. So I think they just managed to get the Iranian ship in the international waters, or it was just coming out. Here's drop site. Only 32 survivors have been rescued from roughly 180 sailors after the Iranian frigate was struck and sunk. So here's the video. Yep, that was a torpedo. because the ship blew up from underneath. How can anyone be even celebrating this? You can see the ship over here, and it blows up from beneath. See this ship over here? It blows up from here. Yep, that was a torpedo. Okay, let's move on. The Iranian foreign minister, frigate Dena, was a guest of Indian Navy carrying out almost 130 sailors, was struck in the international waters without warning. Mark my words, the US will come to bitterly regret precedent it has set. And here are the sailors, the Indian and the Irani sailors. This looks like an Irani guy. This looks like an Indian guy. Indian, Irani. Indian guys on the Irani ship. This was the ship, Irani ship, that was shot down.
Ocean. And we'll play it on the screen there. An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death. The first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II. Like in that war, back when we were still the War Department, we are fighting to win. Also, yesterday, the leader of the unit who attempted to assassinate President Trump has been hunted down and killed. Iran tried to kill President Trump, and President Trump got the last laugh.
So that was Pete, who just confirmed it, and I don't know how that's even a feather in the cap. I mean, if something like that would have happened, it was better to like hide it from people. This isn't good for the reputation. Guys, I'm reading, listening to your comments. Bihari Babu, welcome back. Water, soil, and sun. Rab 865. Multi Tom Tom. So we're going to move on to the next news. We're going to examine the cluster bomb, the cluster missile, which has been observed in the sky. Looks like a breaking star coming down in the atmosphere of Earth. We're going to look at that. So this is how the cluster bomb looks like. You see this? This is the main part, and it's already opened up. into different projectiles. This increases the surface area of the damage. Here it is once again. Let's see some other footages. Check this out. This guy is with it says detailed view of the Shahab 3 missile cluster warhead replica on display at IRGC Aerospace Museum in Tehran. I think is explaining the different parts of the warhead. So this was the thing that opens up, and these come out, as you could see in the last video that we saw. Let's come down. This looks fake. So this is video footage of the Yemeni cluster missile giving birth to baby missiles in the sky over Israel. Let's check this out. See how it's opening up? You see? There you go. So this makes the interceptor hard to defend all these little pieces coming down. And check this out.
זה אחד שנהיה להרבה. אוי אוי אוי. בעצם זה הנפץ, זה איראן, נכון? כן.
Now one interceptor can't stop this.
Wow. Wow.
So this is an account, Defense Intelligence. Israel is under Iranian missile attack with no visible Iron Dome interceptions. All ballistic missiles release cluster munitions. Now check this out. So this is what's going on. Here's another close-up of the cluster.
همش از این نشریات میشه برای زدن فرودگاه‌ها یا از بین بودن هواپیما از این قرمز استفاده میشه که موشک خرمشهر 4 آقای حایزاده اینا رو مطرح کردن 80 تا.
So that was a little info on the cluster bomb. Now let's move on to some funny news. Before that, let's take you back to the skyline of Jerusalem and other places. We're going to take a short break. Okay, guys, now let's move on to some news that you wouldn't imagine coming at this time during the sixth day of the war, and it's funny actually. So apparently, the U.S. and Israel have been bragging about shooting down Iranian drones and jets and trucks carrying drones. And it turns out that it was all fake decoys that Iran had put on the ground that looks real from above. We're going to go through some footages here. So they just made some modeled aircrafts. They made some model drones and trucks, and the US and Israel spent millions of dollars shooting down those made up models of trucks and drones. I'm going to show you some footage. So this is the first footage. So this actually you see this? This looks like a helicopter, but this was a decoy, a model of a helicopter. And it says the IDF are shooting at paint decoys of aircrafts. Notice how nothing moves. I'm going to play the video. So the propellers are still there. And the entire thing is still there. The color just changed. So we're going to move on. This is how they made it.
The world with fake fighter jets. Seriously, Iran totally fooled the world with fake fighter jets. Seriously, Israel even claimed they hit 2 F-14 Tomcats, but those jets weren't real. See, most countries use inflatable models to trick enemies and waste firepower. But Iran? They built hard shells from scrap parts, just chilling at a Tehran airbase. In strike videos, you see what looks like 2 F-14 Tomcats. But look closer. Wings are stuck. Huge cracks mar the fuselage, and one even has a broken wing. Not exactly active service, right? Here's the real twist. Satellite images prove these same jets haven't moved a single inch since 2022. So, what else are they faking out there?
They were decoys, made of old scrap and perfectly positioned to draw fire. And it worked. Precision missiles may have wasted millions targeting museum pieces. In the age of drones and satellites, you would think deception wouldn't work. But Iran just proved that sometimes the best defense is a convincing fake. What are your thoughts?
Just wow. Just wow. So $1 million being thrown at, I don't know, $100, $200. This is the helicopter again. Check this out. They think they got a launcher. They think they got a truck. All these are decoys.
Embarrassed like nothing we've seen before, and they just released footage of them blowing up Iranian fighter jets. But there's something I haven't told you. In fact, in the footage, it quite clearly shows bombs being dropped onto Iranian F-14 fighter jets. And in reality, you would expect them to be blown to pieces when the bombs detonate. But in the footage, that clearly doesn't happen, and the fighter jets don't even move. Now, there's a reason for that. It's not that the American bombs don't work, it's that these aren't actually fighter jets, and these are paintings on the ground being used as decoys, so that American fighter jet pilots think they're bombing Iranian fighter jets, when in reality, they're just bombing concrete that's been painted to look like a fighter jet. Now, this shows two things. One, the US is wasting money. These bombs cost millions of dollars, and now they're being wasted by bombing tarmac and concrete that's just painted. But the other thing, this shows quite clearly that American intelligence is not good enough to know what a real fighter jet is and what isn't a real fighter jet. But this also shows that the US doesn't actually know where Iran's fighter jets are. In reality, Iran's hidden them under the ground, and these are just decoys, so the US thinks they're making progress.
So there you are. That was that. Let's go into some other videos. This is a truck being targeted. These trucks, the US and Israelis think that these trucks have drones and launchers inside them. In actual, wow, in this era of digitalization, Iran being able to pull such a thing, amazing. So this is what they think they're targeting when they're targeting a truck. And these is after they have targeted the trucks. These are model trucks. You see the skeleton? It had nothing.
5 دستگاه ماشین تریلی بار موشک 5 دستگاه ماشین تریلی بار موشک.
This is just brilliant. This is brilliant. So this is the truck being targeted. Check this out. So this is actually a decoy truck, and about $1 million is going to be thrown into it to burn. There you go. This is what they're bragging about. And by the way, these videos were like released by these guys themselves. And after these videos were released, Iran came out and told the whole story. These are just decoys. So now they can't even get out of this because they released these videos. So this is the plane that you see. Some of the planes. So this guy, just one guy, is lifting off the entire plane with one hand. You see this? So this is what's eating $1 million. We showed you this video earlier. Trucks being targeted. And if you see closely, it had nothing inside. You see? Nothing. It was empty. These were just models. And the skeleton says it had nothing inside. So that was that. That was the decoy story. Now let's move on to the last segment of the show. Then we'll go on to see the radars, the flight radars, and the cargo radars. First, this is the favorite part of the show. Raza Pahlavi, who is supposed to, who the US wants back into Iran, replacing the Khamenei regime, was pranked by two Russian prankers. They called him up and set a meeting with him, and he fell for it. Just look, take a look what happened.
Hello.
Hello, I'm assistant. Adolf is coming.
So this guy is supposed to be, I think, I'm just assuming, this guy was the secretary or his assistant, something like that.
Hello.
Hello, I'm assistant. Adolf is coming.
That's great. And Reza Pahlavi is coming as well. I was just making sure the line was open. I'm just going to move into the room where he is. He's just finishing another meeting.
So here it starts. This is prankster number 1. This is the prankster number 2. He's going to arrive later. And check how he's looking, okay? He's looking like who? And this is Raza Pahlavi. And this is the assistant who just connected the Zoom meeting. I think this is a Zoom meeting.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, dear Prince Pahlavi. So we're waiting for Adolf. No problem.
So the other guy, the third guy's name is Adolf.
Wait. Okay. How do you like Munich?
It's cold and rainy, so I can't say it's the best of times. Yes. Now this is my, I think, 4th time in Munich.
This guy just appeared on the screen. He looks like Adolf Hitler.
Last year.
Oh, Adolf is here. Oh.
Adolf is here.
Okay.
Good.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Good afternoon.
I need to tell you that my father knew your father.
How come?
Really? Yes.
What was that? Was it? He has
grandfather, Adolf's grandfather.
Yes. My grandfather knew your father.
How interesting. Was he stationed in Iran in some capacity?
Yes,
or?
he was. He served in German army, and he was as an agent in Tehran.
He served in the German army and he was an agent in Tehran
in 40s.
in the 40s, and he looks like Hitler. And that guy he's talking about is his grandfather.
That's very interesting. Good to know.
Okay, let's start.
It's amazing that he still couldn't guess.
I'm glad to welcome you today, and our friend, President Weber, told us about a great conversation with you. So we would like to discuss some details of our partnership and also your personal meeting with the Chancellor, I think on Sunday, if it's okay for you.
Well, definitely, I would very much appreciate that opportunity, but we are very grateful and thankful for the strong position that Chancellor Merz has taken. I think it's really something that we were hoping all these years, that there'll be a much tougher stance by European governments, and I'm glad that your country is taking the lead in being very clear on the subject, particularly when it comes to the regime's legitimacy, which was always an issue.
You know, I had a discussion with Chancellor Merz today, and we discussed that we will talk to you, and his position now, he is open to join the game. So I need to assure you that
this guy just gave a thumbs up.
Germany army is ready to launch military actions in Iran now. You know, we have Taurus missiles, so our intelligence is ready to start bombing Tehran.
Okay, well, the more we have as part of this coalition vis-à-vis the regime, the better, in fact. So it doesn't isolate just the Israelis and the Americans in this. That's certainly a welcome element for us to have more people joining in this crusade. And I'm glad if...
Crusade. He said crusade. Watch these guys' reaction.
Crusade. And I'm glad if Germany is taking such a strong stance. I hope that others would follow suit.
I talked to Chancellor Merz, so he is ready to launch military operation now. So what do you think? If we start military operation, are you ready to come then to Tehran and lead new government?
He just asked that if the Germans go down, we're ready to send forces there, but are you ready to go down in Tehran with the forces?
Yes, at least what we've been talking to the Americans and the Israelis about is the fact that, look, as far as IRGC is concerned, or any of the instances that is part of the, force de frappe, as the French will say, including the intelligence ministry and so on and so forth, that has to be neutralized for people to actually have a chance to go back to the streets and ultimately take over whatever we need to take over. In the meantime, we're working the process of getting more and more defectors on our side. And a lot of them come from the military paramilitary groups, but also from the civil bureaucracy, in the sense that the minute the regime ultimately collapses, we are ready to step in and fill the vacuum. For that, I haven't...
I mean, what do you think about Israel position now?
Well, obviously, Israel is definitely on board in terms of knowing that there's an existential threat to them so long as this regime continues to exist. In fact, I don't know if you remember my trip 2 years ago to Israel, where I spoke directly with Israeli officials, including Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Herzog. So we have a very good dialogue with them, and I think there's a lot of traction about this in terms of how it's perceived from the point of view of the Iranian people. Every demonstration you would see of the last couple of years, you often see the Israeli flag right next to the Iranian national flag.
Okay.
Everyone watches that, everyone knows that, and everyone is pretty awkward when they see the Iranian flag with the Israeli flag.
Good. So I hope that we can arrange a meeting with Chancellor, and of course it's very important for him to know you, to meet in person. It's much better than just discuss on this. What do you think? People who were under bombarding of Israel, would they support that politics.
Sir, I'm so sorry. The prince is just getting a phone call. We just need about 3 minutes to take the call. We'll be just put it on pause and be right back, if it's okay. In the meantime, maybe yeah. Bye.
Okay.
So
So
just
you will
one
stay
second.
here.
Apologies. He just apologized.
Он не выйдет, мне кажется. Все как бы. Просто там посмотрели. Что он Гитлер? Гитлер цел.
Нападение готово на Иран.
Он еще так недоволен, знаешь, это вот.
Here the prankers are. Wow, man. Russian prankers are on a next level. So, wow. Okay, now let's quickly go to the skyline again. I'm going to take a short break and then we're going to go and check out the flight radar and the cargo ship radar to get a better idea of what's going on. Okay, guys, let's move forward and check out the flight radar. Here it is. Iran empty. In the morning, I saw the radar. There were a lot of activities here in Doha, Qatar. Again, we see a Qatar Emiri Air Force F-15 on Doha. Who is going? This is Bulgaria Air. Took off from Dubai, but it doesn't say here. This is a big plane coming in. This is the biggest plane, in fact, coming in. It came from Jeddah, landing in Dubai. Another big plane. This is a private plane, took off of Dubai. Another private plane. It came from Cairo. So there's a lot of private planes taking off right now. This is going to Athens from Dubai. Of course, Riyadh has become the most important airport right now to be traveling in these areas. This took off from Riyadh, has no information on it. This is Bahrain's airspace. This is the Dammam's. No information on the airplane. Let's go on the Israeli side, see what's happening over here. So, no plane. This plane took off of Tel Aviv and it's going to Munich. This is the same American refueling plane, is just hovering around just outside Gaza Strip. That means air operations are underway in Iran. Let's check out the French side. There were a lot of military movements over here. And let's check out Cyprus right outside the trouble area. FedEx. This is another one. All commercial flights. Okay. This is a helicopter. So this is the airspace over Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. Let's go and check out the cargoes. The Strait of Hormuz. Yep, still empty. Although the US claims that they shot out all the navy assets of Iran, but if they had, traffic would be normal. Here, you'd see there's hardly any ship crossing from here. This is now how it looks like. So that was that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I'll see you soon.